Philadelphia's offseason is almost complete, and the plan to make it back to the Super Bowl is now in full gear. But did Howie Roseman actually do enough? Will the new additions make up for the multitude of departures? And why has this offseason been different than any we've seen before? I'm Thomas Mott, this is the Thomas Mott Show. Making it to a Super Bowl is one thing. Actually, winning a Super Bowl is a whole other animal. But making it to a Super Bowl, winning that Super Bowl, and then making it back the following year, it's nearly impossible. At least if you're an organization like the Philadelphia Eagles, who have now been to 4 Super Bowls in the 21st century and never made it back the following year. In fact, they really haven't even gotten that close. But this offseason, following the Birds' most recent Super Bowl victory, things have changed in a major way. First, we've basically hit 97,000 subs, so the Kyle Schwarber signed bat, that winner is announced at the end of today's video, so stay tuned, watch the whole thing, see if you won. Now, when going back in time to the Eagles' 3 previous Super Bowl appearances, the year following has always had some sort of major drama that created seemingly too many distractions. Take, for instance, the 2005 Eagles' post-2004 Super Bowl loss to the Patriots, a team that became the first in NFL history to go 6-0 in their division one year and then 0-6 in that same division the following season. Between injuries to Donovan McNabb, Brian Westbrook, and Todd Pinkston, and the major distraction that was Terrell Owens the entire offseason and kind of into actual games, Philly's chances at repeating were squashed early as they finished 6-10 and 4th place in the NFC East. Likewise, that same offseason featured a pretty disappointing draft class where only Trent Cole was the lone pick to ever make at least one Pro Bowl, taken way back in the 5th round. Overall, it was pretty clear 2005 is one of the worst post-Super Bowl years Philadelphia really has ever had, and a model for what not to do if you want to try to make it back the following season. Now, fast forward 13 seasons, and Philadelphia once again was coming off of another Super Bowl appearance, this time a Super Bowl appearance that they actually won. The following offseason, the Birds retained the majority of that same team, and most of us thought they were ready for another deep postseason run once again. But then the drama began. Carson Wentz was still recovering from his ACL injury to actually start the season, where Super Bowl MVP Nick Foles would begin the year 1-1, for Wentz returned Week 3 versus the Colts, and would end up going 5-6 during the rest of the season, before finishing with yet another injury, putting him on the bench, culminating in the beginning of another major distraction in Philadelphia. Especially since Nick Foles would then win the final 3 games of the regular season, and even pull off some more late-game Nicky Six magic in the wildcard round versus the Chicago Bears. Of course, as you guys know, Philadelphia would then lose the divisional round in pretty dramatic fashion to the New Orleans Saints. I've always said, had they actually not had a drop by Alshon Jeffrey, they would have gone on to win the Super Bowl, but ifs and buts, we have no idea if they actually would. But still, the distractions and really the makeup of that football team were pretty darn close to what happened in 2005. At least T.O., Carson Wentz, it just derailed everything, and they didn't have that good of a shot to make it back. Now, I do want to quickly mention our friends at Game Changers, who a lot of you guys ask me, where do you get these awesome t-shirts from? And a little hard to see because the way camera angle's at, but all of my t-shirts right here are coming from Game Changers, and the list of Eagle stuff that they have on their website is absolutely incredible. It's like every single big moment from the Eagles season this past year in super comfortable t-shirt form. And right now, if you want to go ahead and pick up a couple, they're offering $10 off using my promo code ThomasX10 whenever you go ahead and check out. I mean, we're talking t-shirts like the exciting white shirt you saw Cooper DeJean wear during the season, and a bunch of really awesome Saquon Barkley, Devontae Smith, the dagger one. I have that one as well. That one's pretty cool. And of course, Jalen Hurts stuff. They have a ton of really cool looking t-shirts. So if you want one, check them out. Go and use my link down below in the description box, and also use my promo code, because each time you use my promo code, it actually helps the channel out as well, which is pretty cool. So check out their shirts today. Plus, going back to the offseason, and the list of free agent additions was pretty void of any impactful players. Like, this is really rough. Now, Howie would nail the 2018 draft, some pretty good names right here, perhaps reducing the actual time between Super Bowl appearances rather dramatically, something that was very different from the 2005 offseason. And really, that's exactly what happened. Just 4 years following the 2018 season, Philadelphia would once again be back in a Super Bowl. Once again, they would lose in the Super Bowl, and once again, they'd face a following season with a ton of different challenges. First, we had brand new coordinators in defensive coordinator Sean Desai and OC Brian Johnson, both of whom caused a lot more drama than I personally have ever witnessed from coordinators to this point, to the point that Desai had to be actually relieved of his duties during the middle of the season. And they tried to cover that up, but he very clearly did not work and got relieved. Still, despite the internal drama, which was not just Desai, there were players going at each other the entire year, Philadelphia boat raced out to a 10-1 record for losing 5 of their last 6 regular season games and then getting waxed by the Tampa Bay Bucks in the wildcard round. And this offseason, once again, was similar to 2015 and 2018. Starting, of course, with a list of very underwhelming free agents and a trade deadline move in Kevin Byard that never came close to panning out, proving once again that poor offseason management and internal turmoil will lead to the demise of a Super Bowl roster even one season removed from dominating the rest of the league. However, this was important. As noted before, Howie Roseman once again nailed the draft that offseason, perhaps, again, shortening the time between Super Bowl appearances, which obviously happened because Philadelphia would go back a couple years later. And that leads us to the main question today. Did Philadelphia do enough to essentially get over the hump from the previous 3 Super Bowl appearances, where they get there, they either lose or win, and then have a terrible following season? Honestly, I think the answer is yes, but TBD. First off, I do think Howie had a very solid draft. Again, time will tell. We have no idea if any of these guys are actually going to be stars. It takes a couple of years to know that for sure, but I do think this class has some tremendous promise. A good sign. Second, the Eagles didn't spend any big money to keep any aging, overpriced players from their previous team. Example shown by, let's say, James Bradberry in 2023, where they overpaid him and then eventually had to eat his money. Likewise, Howie this time did not go crazy in free agency. He didn't go sign a bunch of players and give a bunch of money to all these different people. He signed all of his new additions to cheap one-year contracts that give little power to these new faces and provide only upside if they can produce on the field. Take, for instance, Azeez Ojulari, the most expensive free agent addition of Philadelphia this offseason. Former high draft pick, proven on the field, overlooked due to injury, yet very, very hungry. Telling Dave Spadaro when he arrived in Philadelphia, quote, "Just try to do my job when I get out there on the field. Whatever happens, happens. Trying to do it to the best of my abilities. When you make those plays, it's always exciting. Excited to be here now and make plays with the Eagles and try and win games." And that really was Howie's entire MO with signing people this offseason. Cheap, one-year contracts, people that had proved it in the past or had a bunch of injuries, and they get basically zero power in the locker room to destroy. They have a chance to build things up and then get a massive contract if it works out. It's really all up to them. Next, Howie made sure to take care of the most important internal free agents that Philadelphia had, rewarding some of the Birds' best players in 2024 with extensions that keep both them and the Birds' cap space very healthy. And then last, but probably most important, this has been the least dramatic offseason in recent Eagle history. No leaks of internal fighting the previous season, no big stars complaining about contracts or holding out, just business as usual at the NovaCare complex with a team and roster full of young, high-potential players and budding superstars. Will they actually make it back? Well, right now, no one can say for sure, but if you go back the past 2 decades, 2025 is clearly the Birds' best shot. And by the way, the rest of the league, whether they actually want to admit it or not, they believe this as well. Everybody thinks Philadelphia is loaded this year, drama-free, and looking pretty darn good. For instance, ESPN just ranked Philadelphia as the #1 team in terms of offensive playmakers. No shocker there, but they are #1, followed closely by PFF ranking the Birds' offensive line unit #1 in the entire league. Again, no surprise. Likewise, Saquon Barkley led PFF's running back rankings, so yeah, no surprise there. And how about Bleacher Report this week naming Drew Makuba as a rookie who could, quote, be more exciting than Jaguars rookie Travis Hunter. Odd article, but I like it. Now, it is funny to think about offseason drama and how Philadelphia was drama-free because CJ Gardner-Johnson's name keeps coming up in the media in a negative way, and it keeps reassuring me that Philadelphia trading him was definitely the right move to keep everything status quo. Because apparently, CJ Gardner-Johnson's new scandal is that the mother of his child is alleging that he put a hit out on Giants wide receiver Malik Nabers. And honestly, I have no idea what that means because obviously Malik Nabers is still with us, so I don't even know really what to say here. All I know is, again, Philadelphia avoided a lot of drama by getting rid of their most dramatic player. Now, worth noting, it's not that no teams have recently gone back-to-back in the Super Bowl, just that Philadelphia's mention has been unable to do the following 3 years in those last 3 attempts. In fact, since 2000, the Patriots went back-to-back in 2004, 2005, Seattle did it in 2014 and 2015, New England did it again in 2017 and 2018, finally, KC's done it multiple times now, 20 and 21, and then 23, 24, and 25. You don't always win it, but you can definitely make it back if you're any team but the Eagles. And in the end, all these teams have the exact same things in common. Strong coach, strong coordinators, obviously a strong quarterback, a strong GM, a strong ownership, and a team that is hungry and drama-free. And I think Philadelphia, if you look at the entire offseason, we're almost done here, has done everything humanly possible to make sure that there's no drama and nothing that can, become a roadblock for Philadelphia as they try to make it back to the Super Bowl. Because in the end, this is the most talented football team Philadelphia has ever had. 2024 was. I think 2025 is either as good or maybe a little better. Year 2 Cooper DeJean, Saquon year 2, who knows? But this is an incredible chance to do it and really their best chance so far. Now, finally, if you stayed this long, you're going to find out if you won the signed Kyle Schwarber bat, courtesy of our friends at Legends, shoplegends.com. We got a promo code if you guys want to get one of these pieces on your own because sadly, I only have one right now. Hopefully, they'll send me some more to give away, but only one winner. And as always, had to be subscribed, leave a comment on the show, and I randomly generated the winner, who is Dante Boris 9230. So, Dante, you won. Link down below, or I guess go down below in my description box. You'll see all the details. Send me an email, prove it's you, and we'll get this thing sent out to you. Congratulations. Plenty more giveaways happening, including the 100,000 subscriber giveaway happening, 3,000 subscribers from now, which is going to be pretty sweet. Might include a couple of different things, so hopefully we'll hit 100,000 subs. I would think by, middle of training camp, maybe the preseason games, who knows, up to you guys. Still, congratulations on the bat. We're going to go ahead and hopefully hear from you soon. If we don't hear from you in like a week, I'll pick somebody else, so stay tuned for that. I'm Thomas Mott, though, hanging out on a Wednesday. This has been the Thomas Mott Show.